Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I do reviews to TV shows, celeb news, politics news, just things that are really interesting. And tonight I'm doing a review on the challenge. I'm just gonna say ahead of time, to me, this was not that interesting of an episode. I feel like the past reviews, I'm like, oh my God, explosive, oh my God, this, but this one was good, but it wasn't the last episode. Sorry, I had to even think to like, well, how am I trying to define this? But per usual, I have my laptop on the side, so you can see me looking over. I'm just trying to go in chronological order because I take notes while I watch it. And let's get into it. Corey immediately is talking in his confessional about how he needs to steal a skull in order to actually gain one. I'm like, oh wow, yeah. All 5 of them are gone, for the men at least. The last one that got it was Josh, who won against Meech last week, rightfully so. It was a very clean split win. So Josh is on a good high. Corey needs his. CT still needs his. Darrell, like there's still quite a bit of men who are still in the house that don't have one. They're going to have to compete against each other to steal these skulls. Next, we have Amber M trying to talk to these other people, saying like, hey, can I talk to you? Because Amber M is on edge. She was nominated last week with Meech, and it's by Amber B. Not just solely her, but Amber B was a part of her alliance. So she kind of is feeling down / like betrayed in a way, because they've been friends this whole entire season until this past week when she voted for her. And we didn't see Kyle tell Amber M that Amber B voted for her, but I guess just based off the way she's acting, I guess the number, she kind of just knows that she voted for her, and she's venting to Devin. In my head, he's the wrong person to vent to anyone, especially if it involves someone that's from Big Brother, because Amber B is from Big Brother. Because when she was like, yeah, Amber B is the one who voted for me, or she's part of it, and Devin's like, she's a Big Brother, right? And she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't trust Big Brother people. I'm like, okay, like either way, you're just kind of talking to a wall, or you're talking to a biased person. So anytime you talk trash about anyone in Big Brother, he's gonna agree with you anyways. But she's kind of just really upset about that. Nani is talking to Cam, saying how she doesn't want to go against anybody in a challenge that's beat her in the past, meaning Teresa. I don't know how long ago that was. I know that they had bad blood with each other, but I guess in the past they've gone head to head and Teresa's won. So Nani is playing that game where everyone's like, I want to go against someone smaller than me, someone who's weaker than me, someone who's not as strong, so I have actual chance. So everyone wants to put Teresa up in the crater, but they don't want to go against her. And I'm like, y'all know that there's only so many skulls left. Y'all know there's only so many weeks left. So when are you gonna get it? But that's just them talking. Next, we have Amber M confronting Amber B. And I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. Because Amber M's kind of been, I wouldn't say quiet, but she hasn't had that big of a storyline until maybe a few weeks ago. And she called her a fake B for voting her in. And that's when I was like, did Kyle tell her? She had to have told her. And she's like, I feel stupid for even defending you, Amber B. And Amber B was not defending herself at all. She was stammering. She was just, it was very uncomfortable, and it was very obvious that, yeah, she did vote against her, and she just didn't really have a good way to cover her tracks. Not saying that she needed to, but it was just very, very obvious that she voted for her, and she just didn't know how to like stand up for herself in the situation. And Amber M was like, I feel stupid for defending you. Amber B was like, my allegiance / loyalty lies with Big Brother people. She didn't say that to Amber M, but she was saying that in the confessionals to us, and it makes sense because that's what she's been saying over and over, despite also having her little rookie alliance. But it's like, it's hard to kind of manage to keep both. But ultimately, she did vote her in, and now the Ambers are no longer friends. That's kind of sad because they've been friends the entire season until this finally happened. She didn't essentially need to vote for Amber M. She could have done like a burn vote and vote for someone else, but alas, I mean, sometimes it bites people in the booty later. In Gabby's confessional, she's saying, I find Amber B's behavior to be manipulative after being working together all season. So essentially that whole little alliance of Amber and Gabby, the rookie girls, has crumbled. Like they just don't trust anyone, Amber B. But I'm like, sheesh, like you guys were good friends and kind of not getting nominated, and now y'all are just turning on each other. And I guess there's a little bit of drama on that aspect. I was like, where's the drama now? Because this episode kind of lacked that in my eyes. Next, we see Teresa and Corey having somewhat of a vulnerable open moment, and Corey is saying like, oh, I feel like I can trust Teresa now because she's opening up about my life. Teresa is not one to really even, I guess, latch on to have any faith in, because again, she's had a lot of enemies / arguments for the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. But also Corey is her partner at this moment, so I guess it makes sense for him to try and say he like trusts her and wants her to trust, but like I don't know if that's the person who you want to seek it from. Next, we see Casey and Amber B hang out with each other, and this is the first time that I can visually remember seeing them like actually talking, despite Amber being like big brother, but like they're talking and saying how like they're feeling mean girl vibes. I think Amber B is the one who explicitly said that, while Gabby was in the kitchen and like she overheard it. Like it didn't really look like she did, but they're in the same room. It's one house, of course you can really hear things. And when they were going to the challenge and the green lights were going off, Gabby confronts Amber B like, why are you saying that? Why do I have to hear you talking about mean girls thing? I don't trust you anymore. You don't trust me. It was very like Amber B is now at the bottom of the barrel in regards to that alliance. So Homegirl is going to either need to win this challenge or win the creator if she gets sent down, because it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, yeah, you're going to get cut off or people are just not going to really like you. So it's kind of just her against herself at this point. And it was just very awkward. In this week's episode, the challenge was trivia time, aka mission interrogation. TJ reiterated twice that the winners of this challenge get $5,000 each, and Burger King to some extent. They had to stand on this like rig over water and hold on to something and answer the questions correctly. If they answered it correctly, they kind of shoot like a target against their competitors and they get to stand up. And each time someone voted something incorrectly or against their partner, they kind of get lowered and they kind of like lose their grip and eventually fall. Very scary because they're really, really high up. They're over cold water because they're in Iceland. And it was different than past seasons, because in past seasons, they would be like, on season 30, was it Roll World versus X or this and that? Who was the first man to win? Like, it was like more challenge-based trivia questions. This one was mainly like geography, math, like school things, which is what these people lack. Sometimes like you kind of just see it in these questions. I'm not gonna say they're dumb, but that's just kind of like what you see that they kind of fail at when these kind of competitions happen throughout the seasons. But this is typically not an easy challenge for rookies, but now it's anyone's game, because if you know these facts, you know these facts. In the first heat, the winner was Darrell. And in the second heat, Big T started to scream and holler before it was even her chance to really start. She fell. Nam ultimately won because Cam was holding on to the sidebars, because every time TJ's like, hey, Cam, stop holding on to it, stop holding on to it, she continued to hold on to it. I was like, Cam, come on, it would have been really nice to see her win that. But then ultimately it was up to Nam and Darrell, and then who held on the longest. It's kind of hard because you could have had a whole like first heat that took a really long time because everyone was getting the answers right, versus one if it was just really fast. Like the time almost was like an interesting factor in it, despite two different winners from two different groups. But Darrell ultimately won, so Darrell and Amber B. I mentioned Amber B earlier having beef with people, so this is like in her best interest because now they can't vote her in. She takes power over the week. But if she was smart and or Darrell, they would vote themselves in so they can get their skull. There's only so many opportunities left for this. The season is winding down, but we'll see how they play out in this episode. Also, TJ announces that they not only get $5,000 each, they both get free Whoppers for life. I was like, that's a cool incentive. They didn't know that. Free burgers, meals, not sure for life. That's like a little fun, like, hey, you won. After the challenge was over, Devin said it was not good for his personal game because Amber and Gabby have had a falling out. I'm like, have you not had falling outs with Josh, Bessie, everybody? Amber as well too. Like, he's had falling outs with everybody. He instigates everything. He's a troublemaker. He's a trouble starter. So for him to even put it on Gabby's name that they would be the reason to be voted in, boy, you start a lot. Maybe this week no one's really looking at Devin, but like one little argument versus your fallouts and instigations every week. Devin, calm down for a second. Amber B started venting. I forgot who she was venting to, but she said that she sees the snakes for who they are, referencing to Gabby, Amber M, and Teresa, because they were shooting shots at her throughout the entire competition. They were like saying her name so she would progressively get lowered down, considering that like she thought they were friends, but like, girl, you knew they weren't friends with you anymore because your arguments you had. But I guess you also probably wasn't expecting them to also vote against her to lose, you know, so that's kind of like a more personal attack. But she's venting out about that. And this is during the drinking situation, the whole little club igloo thing. Gabby is talking about Amber B at the drinking situation, saying that people are surrounding her and calling her like a queen, and she's like talking down on it. I'm like, y'all are really on the out. Like, one thing is like when you're a friend with someone, you see all the good in them, but then like when you have one bad argument, you start being like, ew, why are they doing this? Why are they? I'm like, you were friends with them before, and now that you're not friends, you're nitpicking everything that they're doing incorrectly in your eyes, but whatever, that's just how it goes. Despite Gabby talking shiz to Kyle, Amber B pulls Gabby to the side, like, hey, I just want to talk to you and tell you I have no intention of putting you up. I don't want to see you leave yet. I know we've had our little situation, our little tiffs, but like, I don't want to put you up. And Gabby's like, like in her confessional, not to her, she's like, okay, I don't really buy it entirely. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. But regardless, I feel it's just because we have other people to take out, and like I'm not on that list, so I guess that's why she's doing it, but I still feel some type of way about her. And then Teresa, in her little note, she's like, I'm not going to beg anyone to have me stay. Like, if anything, I'm flattered. If people want me to be nominated, because that means they're scared of me, which I guess I can see that the whole flattering thing, because like that means like people are threatened by you, but you also don't want to be the biggest threat that people are voting you up every week. Look what happened to Ashley. Ashley left, came back, left immediately. So it's like, don't do this. You know, Teresa is a very strong-minded player is what it seems. During the deliberation, none of the girls nominated themselves, because they did ask them like, hey, like, does anyone want to go up? And everyone was just like, crickets. And then eventually Teresa was weird. It's like, hey, Nani, you don't want to go in? And then I'm like, why are you saying that when you could be saying you want to go in? Like, why are you attacking someone else, essentially? I know not attacking, but like verbally calling her out when like you should also be nominating yourself too. And Nani did say that too. She's like, Teresa, like, what are you talking about? And then Leroy, his head got big because he has a skull, whatever. And he's like, it's funny how everyone's sitting here silent. No one's talking and no one wants to nominate themselves. Y'all know you need to get skulls to go in. You know that the purpose of this game is to get skulls, which is what I've been saying for the past reviews. But like, Leroy, you just got your skull. I get it. Calm down. Just don't cause any issues. Don't put attention on yourself. I do like him as a player. But yeah, Lolo started to say that her weakness is that she doesn't really talk a lot and she's getting better at it. Yeah, like one thing is being a good athlete, which is what Lolo is, but she's also not really talkative, it seems on the camera at least, and just like has a political game, like a social political game. So yeah, I can see that she is telling the truth with that, but like you need to talk a little bit more to like your name out there and get people on your side, get numbers. Ultimately, the votes were all for Teresa and Corey, or majority, I would say. After seeing that it was Teresa and Corey who were nominated, Amber B tells Darrell that she is down to throw it to Casey if it's a competition that she thinks that she doesn't stand a chance in. Darrell, rightfully so, in his confessional was like, are you dumb? I don't think he said it like that, but like, are you dumb? You need your skull. Why are you throwing it to someone else? Like, you need it. If anything, you go in and you lose, or you go in and get your skull. Like, there's only two different scenarios with it. That's it. So why don't you just go and do that? He doesn't say it to her. He's saying it confessional, but I'm thinking that as well too. But then when they finally go down, everyone finds out that it is again Teresa and Corey is saying like, hell, I don't want Teresa to win. Teresa is toxic. If anything, I want a new partner. I'm like, Corey's been going through partners like this. It was Ashley, her, someone else. I think Ashley again. I'm just like, Corey hasn't gotten a skull, but all of his partners have all been eliminated. So it's like a weird kind of like pattern, but he's like, I'm fine tossing Teresa off, but let's see how it goes down. Amber B and Darrell ultimately vote for Casey because it was a really physical competition in the crater. Amber B just didn't feel comfortable competing in it. So again, threw it down to Casey and I'm like, girl, you know you only got so many weeks left, but we're just gonna go keep pushing through it. It was pretty intense and really long. At some point I'm like, how long is this crater competition gonna go on? Like they were just going and going and going. Ultimately, during this little crater challenge thing, Casey took the lead very fast. I think she got about 2 rings on there, and at that time, Teresa had nothing. But I thought Casey was going to gas out because she was the one who was like essentially pulling Teresa back and forth, and then Teresa's kind of just like combing through the dirt. Casey got all 3 rings, and everyone was really happy. Basically, a majority of the house was for Casey, so I think it wasn't really that like a... If anything, it was just Devin who was upset because he wanted drama and stuff. That was ultimately it. And then we see that Casey sticks with Leroy and Corey as a default is now partners with Amber M because they were both rogue. Interesting enough, that was the end. There wasn't anything super crazy. It wasn't really any explosive drama. But the trailer does show that there's a lot more drama to come. But it's also kind of interesting. So I'm like, how many more episodes is there? Because there's still 2 more men who don't have skulls. And I don't remember how many women skulls there are to give out. But it's very interesting, despite it not being crazy interesting. But yeah, now I'm just kind of talking in circles. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments and see you in the next video. Bye!